Good evening, everybody. I hope you're all doing well on this Friday night. Today, I just wanted to speak not about something so much educational as just news about the church project and the upcoming groundbreaking. For those of you who aren't from St. Mary's or who don't know about this project, maybe you stumbled across Time with Father and you don't know anything about St. Mary's or the project. You can find a lot more about this project at the link in the description, Immaculata.org. There we have a lot of information on this project. This is a rebuilding of a church that existed here on our campus when we acquired it, the Immaculata, a church that Archbishop Lefebvre was the main reason why Archbishop Lefebvre bought this property, because over 1,000 priests had been ordained in that church. And so for him, this was a priestly church, a priestly place. And so for 40 years now, over 40 years, the Society acquired this property in 1978, exact same year the Immaculata burned down. And here we are 42 years later, getting ready to rebuild it. Maybe on a different site, no doubt, but with the same significance, dedicating this church to the Immaculate, because the Jesuits wanted here in the heart of the country to have a place that was consecrated to the Immaculate Heart. So we're doing it with the exact same intention. So for 40 years we've been wanting to rebuild this church, and God in his providence had his reasons why that it didn't work. There were numerous valiant efforts made along the way. But here we are, and groundbreaking is coming up. That's really exciting. And even in spite of all these circumstances, Our Lady isn't going to be thwarted. We're moving ahead on the project. We're starting this project. And as far as I'm concerned, we're not starting the project. Especially many of you who have been pioneers here before, in years past. You've worked so hard to lay the foundations for this project. So for me, it's not starting the project. You started the project. For me, we're beginning to finally end the project by doing this groundbreaking. But for the first time ever, we're going to see some progress. We're going to see some earth moving, and hopefully that gets everybody here really excited about this project. So, groundbreaking, it's coming up on May 31st, less than 2 weeks away. 2.5 weeks from now, we're beginning this project, or again, we're beginning the completion of this project. So why that date, and why did I really insist on keeping that date, so that in spite of these circumstances of quarantine and all that, I think you know, for those of you who are aware of the project, that on May 31st, 1980, exactly 40 years ago, which I think you know, that's the feast of the Queenship of Our Lady normally. This year it will also be the Feast of Pentecost, which will trump the Feast of the Queenship. But on May 31st, 1980, the Immaculata had already burned down 2 years prior, but the walls were still standing. And on that date, May 31st, very strong winds came and knocked down the outer walls of the church. And that was kind of... visually, it was sort of a deflating moment. It was kind of, it was almost like the church wasn't standing anymore. All that stood after that was the bell tower for some time, until that was finally removed. So it's a significant date, 40 years. And 40 years scripturally is always a symbolic number, a quantity of renewal, of a new phase. And so God knows what he's doing. And here we are 40 years later, we're going to restart and complete. I think it's funny too that Pentecost, of course, the date of the Holy Ghost coming down and the heavy winds, it was those winds that knocked down the walls. Well, here we are with Pentecost, restarting the church, the Immaculata. So, May 31st, we will do groundbreaking. That ceremony, and just so you know, the invitations you should have received by now. I think I'm recording this Thursday morning, so they should be going out this morning. As you're watching this Friday night or thereafter, you should have received the invitation. If you're subscribed to the project at newimmaculata.org, you can go there to be subscribed and get all the news on the project. we wanted to send these invitations obviously out much sooner, and even some physical invitations to some sort of people who were involved in the efforts in this project in years past. But given the instability of the circumstances, we had to really wait until we knew what we could and couldn't do. So this is really the first chance we have to send out the invitations. The event itself, just so you kind of have an idea, it will take place up at the project site, so just south of the cemetery, where the soccer field used to be. And so right along 2nd Street at the project site, we will do the groundbreaking. For those who are coming, please park down at Lower Campus and walk up. Pray for good weather. I'm sure Our Lady will give us good weather. And we'll have a contingency plan, of course, in case the weather isn't good. But you'll park down at Lower Campus and walk up. For the handicapped, we'll have handicap service to get you up to the site. And we'll have sort of a wood chip, path up there so that you're not walking through. If it rains the day before or a few days before, you're not walking through mud. We'll try to take care of that so that it's not too muddy or anything like that. But it will be all outdoors. Up at the project site, we will start with the blessing of the site, of the earth, the dirt, blessing that spot, consecrating this spot now that's going on which an eternal building, so to speak, is going to be built. And so we'll bless the ground and we'll bless the earth in that spot. We'll do the ceremonial shoveling of earth by a few key members of the project team and the members of the Father Shine League, who have been so helpful in especially getting this project underway. And then we will take a cross, a 10-foot cross, and we will plant it, bless it too, and then we'll plant it in the spot where the main altar will go. And that'll be a great reminder for the project team, for all of us as we drive by, to know Mass will be said there, and even for the workers to have this cross planted, knowing they're not just doing any project, they're building a church. And so we'll plant that cross. Then we'll go up to the kind of upper tier of that site, and we will offer a Mass, an outdoor Mass. You'll still have to socially distance. We can't have more than 2,000 people. I don't foresee that being a problem, but there will be a Mass, a solemn high Mass for the Feast of Pentecost, facing east. So we can already get used to that idea of offering Mass facing that direction. That'll be really beautiful. And Father Wegner will be there for the event. I'm sure he'll be the celebrant for that. And then, because we haven't been able to do May crowning, which we normally do in conjunction with our First Communions, because we haven't been able to do First Communions, we will take the pilgrim statue that's been overlooking the church, the little model of the church of the Immaculata in our chapel. We'll take the Pilgrim Virgin up to the site, and we will do May crowning at the end of that Mass as well, and crown the Mother of God, for whom we're doing this whole project. This is all for her, and she's going to protect us, and she's going to be the one who makes this project happen. She's the one who has gotten us to this point. So we'll crown her officially there on May 31st. Pentecost this year, but also the Queenship of Our Lady. I think it's a fitting date to do that. But so that's the plan for the day. We aren't planning any kind of banquet or anything after, just again because of the circumstances. We don't want to take that risk, and so we'll have to it'll be a mitigated celebration, but that's okay. We'll take what we can get this year, and it's just, I'm so happy that we are doing this project in spite of the circumstances, that we're starting into it. That'll be what a thing to finally see work happening on this project, and we're making progress. It's just, I hope you're all excited, and I want to thank those of you who, in spite of the circumstances and the uncertainty of the situation, very few people have called and asked to reduce their payments, as guild members for the project, at which I'm edified. Your faith in God and in Our Lady. So thank you for supporting the project. I understand completely for those who couldn't. I mean, some people took pay cuts in this situation, so we completely understand. If I'm sorry to ask, but if your stimulus checks came in for those maybe who aren't involved for the project, or who don't live in St. Mary's, and you want a good cause to maybe donate some of that stimulus check, by all means, we're still $3 million shy of our project total, a little more than $3 million, and you could be a member of one of these guilds, helping build a certain section of the church, really being instrumental to help build this shrine, which will be a testimony to Our Lady and a testimony as well to the vision of Archbishop Lefebvre for the Society and for St. Mary's. And lastly, just a few points. So that will be groundbreaking. That's the plan for May 31st. Again, it all begins at 11 a.m. I'm sorry I didn't say that. 11 a.m. up at the project site. For the morning in St. Mary's, we'll have typical Mass time, so 6, 7:30, 9, all low Masses in both the chapel and auditorium. And then hopefully the bulk of the people will come to that outdoor Mass of Pentecost. And then we'll have the 6:30 p.m. Masses in the chapel and auditorium as usual too. But and we'll have confessions during the outdoor Mass, the 3 different priests. But just a word now too on, what have we been working on? I kind of wanted to give you all an update at the Picard Foundry event that we had planned for March. You know that had to be canceled because of the circumstances and travel bans and such. So what have we been working on since November, since we last updated you? The bulk of our work has been sitting down with the construction team and the architects and our own project team, and making sure that our conceptual cost estimations could be turned into actual cost estimations and get a GMP, a guaranteed maximum price on the project. Lock that price in so that we know really what the actual cost of the project is going to be. So some of the costs came back a bit high, so we had to look at things a little bit, reassess things. What could we make some changes to the scope? Could we work a little bit more to get the costs down? And our whole team has worked really hard. That's what we've been working on. And now we're in a point where we're trying to get the drawings to the point where we can really lock in those prices once and for all. So the architectural team's been working hard to get those designs completed. Some of the engineering aspects, again, I don't know all the details and all the technical terms for these things, but trying to get these things to the engineers and subs so that we can lock in these prices. So we've been working on that. We've also been getting into the weeds a little bit to the details of a lot of the interior design. What exactly will some of the designs look like in the granite and the color schemes. We've started working with an architectural a company that does architectural painting on large scale, like this church. This church is huge. We can't just give this to 1 or 2 people to work on. It's really so big that we really need a company that's used to doing churches of this size. So we brought them on, and again, some things have slowed down a little bit because of COVID, the situation with COVID-19. But we're still making progress, and so we've been talking a lot of detailed discussions, even about, for example, in the basement, what will the offices, what's the floor plan for the offices, and for the parish priests, and for reception. For classrooms, for the academy or non-academy religion classes, and the other uses we'll have for that, for the main conference room space there in the basement. A lot of detailed stuff that we've been discussing in sort of segmented meetings where we've been dividing up the church and, okay, let's now tackle the sacristy, or tackle the baptistry, tackle the narthex and the parlor and the basement and these different things. So really trying to think things out. How do parish events work? How can we make things work best for the foreseeable future for how the church will be used? So it really takes a lot of work. It's a huge church, and it takes a lot of work and discussion, getting the right people involved in those discussions to make sure that the spaces are very well thought out. So we've been making a lot of progress there too. That's been the bulk of our work. We still plan to have the Foundry event at some time in the future. We'll have to wait and see, when Mr. Picard and his company and family are able to make that work. We'll need to see when the circumstances allow for travel again, but we'll still hold that event in the future. And in the meantime, let's just keep praying for the project. Keep praying that Memorare every day for the success of the project. As I said, we're doing all this for Our Lady, and especially as we pray our rosaries during this Rosary Crusade, let's sort of tie that in, dovetail that in with our efforts to live a life more consecrated to Our Lady. As I said, we're not just here to build a church. In a certain way, I hate to say it like this, but in a certain way, who cares about a church? It's about, the church is there to help sanctify us and to help us love Our Lady more, to help us realize that she is our mother. She's the mother of this town. She's the mother of our society, the mother of our church. She's the Immaculata. She's the one who won't ever be defeated and who crushes the head of the serpent in his errors. So that's what it's all about, living a life more consecrated to her. So grab your rosaries, clutch them, pray them frequently during this Rosary Crusade, and that can be a great way for you to live this consecration to Our Lady. As one of the Jesuits who's here before talked about, when the original Immaculata was built in the early 1900s, rebuilding an Immaculata, building an Immaculata in our hearts. That is really a dedication to the Mother of God, a love for her. So let's keep doing that more than anything, and just be happy, be joyful that God isn't thwarted, Our Lady isn't thwarted in her efforts to help us with this project. We're going to start this final phase of completion, maybe 2 little more years from groundbreaking to completion, all things going well, and it's all in God's hands. So we'll just keep moving forward. I hope to see all of you at groundbreaking if you can come. For those of you who can't, we will be live streaming the event at 11 a.m. Central Time on that Sunday, May 31st. We'll stream it for you here at streamthemass.com. You can find it there and follow along. So pray for us, and hope if you can support the project, at least with your prayers. God bless you, and good night.